Warning, this video contains graphic content that some people may find disturbing. Now let's start by looking at what we've seen from the mainstream media about this Charlottesville incident. We've all seen the picture of Marcus Martin. He was on the front page of just about every single newspaper, flipping over the Dodge Challenger, supposedly driven by James Fields. Now, let's look at the approach of this Challenger. It did not seem to be going fast enough to do the damage and have the effect that it supposedly had. It supposedly hit this lady in the teal green shirt, flipping her feet first in the air over the Toyota Camry. The Toyota Camry then supposedly hit the maroon Honda Odyssey van so hard that it went skidding into the middle of the intersection. This drone footage that we've seen broadcast by the mainstream media shows the van going very smoothly into the intersection, and it definitely does not look like a car that has just been hit and skidded into the intersection. Also notice that there's a cut, and we never see the occupants of the maroon van. We have two very different scenes that are portrayed by the media as being continuous, but clearly are two different scenes from two different points in time. In these frames just before Marcus Martin was supposedly hit and flipped over the Challenger, we don't see him. We see many other people, but we don't see Marcus Martin in his shot being flipped over the car in the air, feet first. Independently released footage has shed a tremendous amount of light on what really happened in Charlottesville. First, we see the back of the van shows no damage, despite it supposedly being hit while it was parked so hard that it would go skidding into the intersection. Ford Fisher of News to Share didn't catch the crash itself, but he caught just before and its immediate aftermath. And what we see from his footage is that this van was sitting parked in this intersection for at least 5 minutes before the crash ever happened. Other independently released footage shows a lady in a teal shirt immediately after the crash rushing to the front driver's side and frantically urging the two occupants of the van to immediately exit the front passenger side door. We also see an image of the driver while she's sitting in the car before getting out, just before the crash. Now in this footage here, we see there's no driver in the maroon van. The driver is in front of the van and raises her camera to film the crash. She clearly anticipated it, and we also see that the van is being pushed by the Toyota Camry that's behind it. That's why this van goes skidding, apparently, into the intersection. It was more like pushed into the intersection. It was not in park. It was neutral. It was being pushed by the Toyota Camry before the crash happened, and clearly everyone knew that this was happening. And this is why there's no damage to the back of the car. If this were in park and it weren't being pushed and it had been hit so hard, it would have had a dent. Here we see the lady in the teal shirt who rushes to the driver's side and frantically urges the two passengers to immediately exit the front passenger side. Now, this would never happen in a real crash. There could be injuries. This clearly would never happen. This in and of itself should be our major red flag for everyone. So I searched the plate and it's registered to a Johnny Chandler of Charlottesville, Virginia. A GoFundMe page was posted by Mahtab Jamalreza, who was one of the van's passengers, and in it she names her godmother, Lizete Short of Charlottesville, Virginia, who was the driver, and she even admits that she got out of the van before the crash, and as she says, was thrown onto the hood. So I search for Lizete Short of Charlottesville, Virginia, and we get Lizete Short Chandler of Charlottesville, Virginia. Here we have an image of her. She also goes by Love Short Chandler of Charlottesville, Virginia, and she's married to Ray Chandler of Charlottesville, Virginia, who is actually Johnny Ray Chandler of Charlottesville, Virginia, to whom the van is registered to. So I searched the plate of the Toyota Camry, God KPME of Virginia, and it's registered to Nika Onogwuka of Jamesburg, New Jersey. Nika Onogwuka recently attended Stewart Day School in Princeton, New Jersey, and not coincidentally, one of the lead agitators in this whole event was Cornel West, who of course teaches at Princeton University. The driver and passenger of the Toyota Camry have different names than the person to whom the plate is registered to. They are Mika and Tadrint Washington, and they have filed a lawsuit against James Fields and the organizers of the Unite the Right rally. So now that we've identified the van driver, its passenger, as well as the Toyota Camry's driver, there are some very obvious questions for the three of them. First, for the van driver, why were you parked in the intersection for at least 5 minutes before the crash happened? Why did you get out of the car? Why was the car left in neutral and not park? Why was the Toyota Camry driver pushing the car just before the crash? Why was Lizete Chandler, the van driver, filming just before the crash? And who ran to the van and frantically urged the two passengers to immediately leave?
At a stop sign behind the van, the rally people were walking across the street towards the downtown mall. And as I was sitting there watching the people, about 4 or 5 minutes or so, my head, I say I was sitting about 4 to 5 minutes, and my head just was going in my steering wheel. I don't know exactly what people were saying. I know there was a lot of people around me in my face. I remember when I finally opened back up my eyes, me trying to make sure that my toes and my fingers still move, because I'm an EMT and I know that I need to check and make sure things are still moving to make sure I still have circulation. So I was trying to kind of check myself out, but I remember my legs being on fire. Seeing a clip of what happened of this car driving full speed into me, and I just broke down, because I'm thinking, Lord, God saved me, like He saved me from somebody running to my car with that much speed, and I could have been gone. How He protected me, and I get chills of thinking about it now, but I just realized that I'm here for a reason, and if I'm here to tell my story and for let people know God bless me to see another day, then I did not feel I was in harm's way in any type of way. We were around people who were protesting for the good,
We even had a guy come by the window and tell us, thank you for your patience, for patiently sitting at the stop sign as the rally people made their way to the downtown mall. So, for me, the experience has been extremely traumatic. I never thought that I would be a part of or have to witness something so horrible.
If you're an EMT, did you not find it odd that you were not being tended to by the actual EMTs, but instead by these supposed Antifa medics with these really ridiculous looking red tape crosses on them?